Alright, so my next category is kind of like stemming off of fantasy, and it's definitely not.
Who fancies a vlog? So I was just getting on with my day, really, and it occurred to me that why not start a vlog? Because when I recently uploaded my catch-up video, quite a few of you said in the comments one of your favourite types of videos to watch is catch-up, chatty videos, vloggy videos, sort of days in lives videos. And I get it, I love vlogs. I have a few particular like vlogging channels that are like my comfort go-to when I just need something on in the background, like Carrie Dating. So I figured, what's stopping me? Well, I can tell you what's stopping me. I have this weird sort of a hang up in my head that if I'm going to film a vlog, it has to start on a Monday, because it has to be like a full week. It has to be Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday, and it has to start on the Monday, which is absolute nonsense. Obviously it doesn't have to start on a Monday. It's currently Thursday, it's halfway through Thursday, it's after lunchtime, you've already missed half my work day. But I figured, why not just start here? So what's the theme of this vlog? There isn't entirely a theme, really. This isn't a reading anything in particular vlog. This is a write and read with me vlog, because I have work to do and just casual reading to do, and I always like to talk to you about books as I'm reading them. So that's really the plan. I just got my edits back for my manuscript, the non-fiction one that I keep skirting around the details of, but will hopefully be announcing soon. So I am going to start on those, not today though. I think I still need, you know, like, you need some days or a week, I think, between submitting a full draft and then going to the edits. Your brain needs that time away. But I have had a look through the edits that I received and I'm really happy with them. I feel like my editor's done a really good job of pulling out bits that need like expanding in areas or a little bit of like reshuffling, and I'm also just really happy that she's overall really happy with the book. Like, her feedback was overall super positive, so that makes me feel very reassured, and I'm actually really excited to edit it, so that's really good. But I'm probably not going to start that today or tomorrow, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm probably going to wait till Monday and start the new week fresh doing the edits, because I do have other things to do in the meantime as well. I mentioned I have another Macmillan Collector's Library book that I'm working on, so all the stories have been compiled. When I edit those books, it starts with me compiling the stories, sending them to my editor, who's in charge of MCL, and then discussing those stories and seeing if we need to introduce any other ones or take any out or find different versions of them. So those have all been settled, and I'm now at the stage where I write the individual introductions for each story as well as the introduction to the book. So that's what I'm also doing at the minute, and I need to spend some time on that today. I'd like to. I already filmed a YouTube video. I'm so on it today. I filmed a YouTube video this morning, so I had a bit of a content filming morning, but now it's after lunch. I want to focus more on computer stuff that involves being at the computer. I also have some reading I want to do that is work, because it's research for a project which I also can't talk about, as well as I will at some point later today just be reading for fun, and I'll talk to you about the books I'm reading then. Plus I promised to myself this week I would redo my website, and it's Thursday and I haven't, so that's also something I want to spend some time on today, because my website is so out of date. Like, half of my books aren't on there, half the links lead nowhere. Half the information I'd want to be on there doesn't exist, so I also want to do that. It's just sort of like work admin that I'd scheduled for the week between submitting my manuscript and doing the edits, so I better get on that. But yeah, that's pretty much what you can expect from this vlog. I have just finished a book, which I'm now forgetting the title of because it's really long. It's Kimberly Lemming book. I got abducted by aliens and now I'm in a rom-com, I think it is. It was so much fun. It's a lot of fun, but now it's time to pick a new book because I finished that, so I'll also let you know when I pick what I'm reading next and can tell you about what I think of it. So yeah, it's been a while since I've vlogged, so I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm gonna go now. Okay, so I just got finished up editing my Sapphic book recommendations. Let's just export that. But I thought, whilst I was sitting here, I would do a mini book haul because I've got some books from publishers. Yeah, I have 3 books here. The first one is actually already out, so this is a finished copy of a non-fiction book called Women Who Ruled the World, 5,000 Years of Female Monarchy by Elizabeth Norton. So this is a really interesting concept. I enjoy history books that span really broad sort of periods of time. Like, I think that's a really impressive feat for a historian to do, to draw comparisons and explore female power throughout, well, 5,000 years. That's huge. I'm sure there'll be like some pharaohs in here, but there's going to be a lot I do not know about. Oh, this is really interesting actually. It's not structured chronologically, it's thematic. Wow, okay, that's really, really interesting. So even more impressive actually, I think, is the fact that it's done according to themes. So for example, we've got chapter 2, which is on the male relative problem, and the monarchs included are Cleopatra VII of Egypt, Charlotte of Cyprus, and Blanca II and Leonor of Navarre. So rather than just being like a straight up here's a queen, here's a queen, here's a queen, it's more of like a look at kind of what women in power's lives looked like in different scenarios, and kind of how those are represented throughout time. So I think this is going to be really, really interesting. I really like a book like that, and I think this is beautifully designed cover. Then I have 2 novels which are so exciting. On the topic of Cleopatra VII, I have a proof copy here of Cleopatra by Sarah El Arifi, which is out on February next year, February 2026, and I have been so excited for this novel ever since last year, 2024, when I was on a panel with Sarah and she talked about this book, and I was just like, I need that ASAP. It is obviously a historical fiction novel based on the life of Cleopatra VII, who's an incredibly fascinating historical figure. So I'm really, really excited for this. I don't know to what extent perhaps like mythology will come into this book at all, or if it will be like very straight historical fiction. Don't know yet, but just very excited to find out. Then a book that is inspired directly by mythology, and that is The Bloody Branch by Bridget Lowe. And this book is inspired by Welsh mythology, which is so exciting. I'm so excited to read some more books inspired by Welsh mythology, and I think this one's going to be a kind of like dark, fantastical tale of revenge, so very much here for that. But yeah, some good books in the post, I have to say, some very good books. So I'm just putting our clean clothes away, but also trying to like clear some stuff out of our wardrobe because it's too much. Like all of the dresses are in here. Like this is the long part of the wardrobe, and then this is for short stuff, and then there's some drawers under here, but it's so crammed. It's like impossible to keep anything flat if you ironed it. I feel like this looks like it's way more dramatic than it is. This is just me waking up, it's the morning. But it's annoying me, and I also know I've still got like a ton of clothes that don't quite fit or that I just don't wear, so I've been trying to like clear out a little bit. I have chucked a few things up on Vinted, but I know there's more, so I sort of thought I would do that this morning before I get to work, and just go through some stuff. I mean, also things like Chris's wedding kilt is in here. This is not a regular wear. As much as I would love for Chris to dress in full like formal kilt wear every single day, that's impractical. So like realistically this needs to go somewhere other than in our wardrobe, because it's just in the way of things that need to be coming in and out regularly. But that also requires organising our sort of like storage bins, which are under the bed. This is one of those moments where you wish you lived in like one of those like big American houses where they have like walk-in closets. The UK could never. But yeah, so I'm trying to do that, and I just thought I would like chat to you a little bit while I'm doing it, because like I said, I just finished this book, so I can talk to you about this, and I'm also past halfway in this book. I almost read the whole thing last night. It is a tiny little novella, so it's not really surprising. But on the topic of the book I most recently finished, I got abducted by aliens and now I'm trapped in a rom-com. That's the title, by Kimberly Lemming. This is my 4th book by Kimberly Lemming. I previously read her trilogy, which starts with That Time I Saved a Demon, is that it? Or then the second one's like That Time I Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. Like they're very long titles, but they're really funny when you read them, and they very much capture the essence of her books. Her books are very comedic. These are rom-coms, these are romantic comedies, these are comedic fantasy books with a lot of steam and a lot of romance. And if you don't like very explicit steam, I would say that these are even more explicit. This is more explicit than her other trilogy. Like, this is very sex forward, so if you don't like that and you don't like polyamorous relationships, it's not for you. But if you do, then this is so much fun. Like, especially as it got on, it kept taking really wild directions and I was feeling quite anxious. I was like, where is this going? What's gonna happen by the end? Plus, it's so funny and I loved all of the ridiculous, particularly like contrasts of the fact that this is set on an alien planet, but I don't want to give too much about the plot away, but let's just say there's a lot of like extinct Earth species on this planet. There's a lot of dinosaurs, and our protagonist is a wildlife biologist, so it makes for some really entertaining situations. And I also kind of love that Kimberly Lemming's characters are almost always reluctant heroes. Like, they're not setting out for adventure, they get flung into these adventures and they're just like, well, what am I gonna do now? Love it, so funny. Then, like I said, last night I read half of this. This is the strangest little book. It's not the strangest book I've ever read, but it's up there. It is super weird. This is The Bridegroom Was a Dog by Yoko Tawada, and this is not the first book again that I've read by Yoko Tawada. I have also read The Last Children of Tokyo, which was like a kind of soft, slow, futuristic dystopian book, which I really enjoyed. This, writing wise, similar, love her writing. Tonally quite different because of how bizarre it is. It's about a teacher who may or may not be married to a dog, and it's very unclear. And it's sort of got the essence of like a fable or a folk tale, but through that I can see that there are like commentaries on sort of like fitting in and acting according to society's expectations. It's originally written in Japanese, but this is obviously the translation. It's translated by Margaret Mitsutani. So I don't know where it's going to go, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, it could go anywhere at this point. It's very strange, but in a very compelling way. Like, you can't put it down. It's also very easy to read. If you don't like long sentences, you won't like this, but I actually think it creates for a really interesting flow that kind of just takes you through and like keeps you going, so I quite like that. But yeah, I'll let you know when I finish it what I think, because I have no idea where it's going. Please acknowledge how brave I am. I'm getting rid of this beautiful vintage dress, which does not fit. It fitted 6 years ago, and my body has changed since then, and I've just been holding on to it, which is just sad, because I hate when you open up your closet and you think, oh, that's cute, I'll wear that, and then you have to be reminded, no, but that doesn't actually work on my current body. And I do not believe, generally speaking, keeping things for when you might be a different size, because then it's just something hanging in your wardrobe that has no purpose, and you can't like and you can't just grab it, so what's the point? So we're letting go of this beautiful vintage dress, and I am so brave. One of the weird things about being on the internet for 13 years, which I talked about, not the weird thing, but being on the internet for 13 years in my catch-up video, is that you will occasionally get those really bizarre comments from people who, I don't know if they've either recently watched an older video of mine, because I haven't deleted a lot of my old videos, or they've been around for a long time and they're so disappointed in the fact that you don't look the same as you did when you were 19, 20 anymore. Imagine that, 33-year-old woman changing. And I just wonder if they have the self-awareness to realise how creepy they're being. Meanwhile, I refuse to compare myself to a version of me that existed 15, 20, 10 years ago. I love my body and all that it does for me on a regular basis. fun late night update Friday night. Our bathroom sink is leaking into our kitchen. Our bathroom is above the kitchen. So as you can tell, we had already investigated a possible leak before, but then it stopped and we couldn't figure out what had caused it, and there was no problems with the pipes. It has been revealed to us that it was, in fact, the tap. The tap is broken. Yeah, and it's just broken, and now it's just completely given up. Can you see that? Like, it's kind of wet right now. It's just occasionally dribbling. We've got a bucket upstairs now and a bucket down here, and hopefully we can get it sorted tomorrow. Home ownership, yeah. Impromptu car vlog clip, because we were just on our way to B&Q and we thought we'll drop off some stuff in the charity shop on our way to B&Q, and then what did I find in the charity shop? Princess of Ireland Barbie in her box. I mean, her box is damaged, like there's a hole in it, whatever, but this is one of my wish list holy grail dolls. I'm not really a Barbie collector, but there are a few Barbie dolls that just scream fantasy world to me. I can't believe they had this. Happy Monday. I completely forgot to vlog anything yesterday. We were mainly doing DIY stuff around the house, repairs, etc. And you know, just life, and I forgot to vlog because who always remembers to get out their camera? But other than that, I have to say, and I feel like I just have to talk about this, because like, how do you like vlog a week in your life or your work or whatever and not talk about all the stuff that's going on in your mind and what you're thinking about? And I think, like many people, I've just spent most of the weekend feeling quite sad and upset and frustrated, and I don't want to say hopeless, but just like overwhelmed by the rise of the far right everywhere. Like, I don't think it matters where you're watching from now, this is an issue we're all struggling with, and being in the UK, obviously witnessed on the news, I'm not in London anymore, but I witnessed on the news these huge like far right marches, which are just really, really terrifying, to be honest. Really, really scary. And I'm so angry and frustrated the way that they use like women in their rhetoric. Like, as a woman, I hate how they use us as some sort of excuse. Like, we're doing this to protect women, which is absolute rubbish. Like, there's nothing true in any of that statement. It is not true in the slightest, and it's a kind of talking point or rhetorical technique that has been used for thousands of years to like create division and to like bolster your own ideals. Like, that's how you position yourself, and it is never true historically, and that is the case now as well, and that obviously makes me really, really angry. And you do, when you see things like that on the news and you see it on your social media and you're talking about it with friends, you feel like, what on earth can I do? Obviously, you can go along to the like counter marches, the like left-wing, socialist, pro-immigration, feminist marches and rallies if there are those near you and you're able to. So that's something I always encourage people to do, and I try to do as much as possible. But the only other thing I could think to do this weekend was to email my MP and my MSP, because if you're in Scotland you obviously have multiple representatives, and to be honest, considering just emailing my councillors too, I think like every political representative should be like pestered, literally badgered, until they stand on the right side of history. And I think it's important not to let like the sadness overwhelm your voice and to let it be completely shut out. I'm not saying it like solves everything, but I think you need to keep using your voice, and that goes online as well. And I think as somebody with a platform, I think it's really important for me to like make my position clear that I am pro-immigration, I am left-wing, I am pro-equality and free movement and everything that is in opposition to what the far right are campaigning for right now. And I also made a complaint, online complaint to certain television stations, because let's be honest, for years now and still currently, they have been platforming voices on the right, giving them more space than voices on the left and aiding them in the name of neutrality, which it is not. And obviously there's a huge issue right now in the UK with our government basically just like dubbing whatever they want a terrorist organisation with Palestine Action, and arresting random people, elderly people, on marches with nice little signs doing absolutely nothing but peacefully protesting under the guise of this Anti-Terrorism Act, whilst these far right hate groups that attack hotels and asylum seekers and anyone who isn't white barely suffer any repercussions. So I'm really frustrated and really angry and really upset. So those are the like little things I did this weekend that I could think of, and then I also thought, you know, I'm filming today, I need to talk about it. Of course, I always advocate for educating yourself and reading and learning about these things, but like that's not enough, is it? That's never enough. I also think it's really important to be having conversations in your real life with the people you know, even if they disagree with you. I think when it's safe to do so, you need to be confronting people about their ideas if they do have these far right, like anti-immigration ideas, and like presenting them with the actual facts. So that's kind of what I've done and what I can suggest that others do. Do with that what you will. But I was going to talk about books and what I've read because I finished my book, but it kind of feels weird to follow up this with a chat about a book. But I mean, what else am I going to do, really? Like, yeah, like let's talk about book. So the book I finished, as you know, I was reading was The Husband is a Dog. Why can I never remember the titles of books? And I don't know where I put my copy. Obviously I will have the book on the screen right now. And it was really interesting. It was a really compelling little book, and I did finish it that day. It only took me 2 days to read, and you could read it in one sitting, to be honest. But what struck me the most about it was almost as if it had taken like this idea of a fable or a fairy tale, and a popular like fairy tale type, which is the like non-human husband, where like another animal will be like, well, I want to marry your daughter or your son. There are loads of examples of this in folklore, and kind of transposing it into like the modern world using modern language, and how absurd it reads when it's in a modern setting. Like obviously there is something a little bit silly to certain fairy tales, and that doesn't matter when you're reading them, but like imagining those exact events in a modern setting is just so bizarre. And with intention, this book was bizarre and weird and uncomfortable. It was meant to make you uncomfortable. Like that was very evident from the storyline. So that was really, really interesting. And I think the writer is so creative. And like I said, I think like underlying that are themes of like fitting in and like social standards, etc., etc. But I'm not sure how I feel about the ending. So like I can't say like it was perfect because I'm really unsure about the ending, but I did think there was something really, really interesting, engaging and like effective about it. So I'm going to keep reading this author's work. That's my second book by them, but there was years between those two. I'm now going to go look for more by her. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about that. Then last night I started a thriller, which I also can't remember the name of. It's about a woman whose daughter goes missing on the London Underground. Again, I'll put a picture here. I'm only like 40 pages in, and it's quite a chunky, like 400-page thriller book, so can't really say much more, but I'm interested to see where it goes. So that's kind of where I'm at with my reading. Other than that, I'm just plodding along at work today. It's Monday. I'm feeling a tiny bit under the weather, so I'm being kind to myself. And I thought I would just, like I said, check in and talk to you. But yeah, I think I've probably rambled on long enough here, so I'm going to go and get back to work and doing all of that stuff. congested. I don't know why. What's wrong with me? That was such a dramatic intro, sorry. Clearly that's what was on my mind, but it is Tuesday morning, we're at the desk getting some work done, and I realised I hadn't really given you an update on work stuff. So I'm still writing, or still focusing on writing the introductions to my next Macmillan Collector's Library classic, these little ones. So this is my one on fairies that I edited. I'm currently editing another one that comes out next year. I don't know if it's a secret, but it's not up for pre-order yet anyway, so I don't think I'll go into detail about it, but I've got all my stories, and I'm writing little introductions and rereading them just to refresh myself, because like it was a few months ago I compiled the stories, and then there's sort of like a back and forth and a conversation with my editor between and before I write the introduction. So I'm doing that, and I'm also going to start on my edits for the non-fiction book that I mentioned I got through last week, but I'm probably going to do that in the afternoon. So if I'm working on multiple things, which is often, I know a lot of people will know what I mean if they're freelance or like in a creative field, you've usually got multiple things going on at once. So I'll split up my day. So morning before lunch is one project, and then after lunch is another project, unless I get like really carried away with the first project. So I'll be doing edits in the afternoon. I didn't manage to edit my website last week. If you go on my website when this vlog's up, it's probably still a mess, but I will. This month the website will get fixed. It's just so bad. Anyway, I didn't manage to get that done, but we're getting on with other stuff writing wise. And I also did find the book that I mentioned I started reading the other night, and it's No One Saw a Thing. So I think I mentioned this about like a kid that goes missing on the London Underground, and it's sort of split between the present in which the child has gone missing, only in the first few hours, 60 pages in, and like the past few days. So presumably what's been going on the past few days is going to have some connection to the child going missing, but basically our protagonist has met up with her husband's university friends, or having some sort of reunion to commemorate a friend that passed away, and this seems to be like an annual thing, and I'm still like learning more about that, and it is really like interesting. I'm interested to see where it goes, but I also just fancied something a little bit light last night. Like I just wanted something fluffy and fun, so I did pick up a romance book. This is one I recently picked up from my friend's bookshop, Book Lovers, here in Edinburgh, which is a romance exclusive bookshop. It's the only one in Scotland, and it's phenomenal. Go visit it if you're in Edinburgh. I picked this up, which is I Think I'm in Love with an Alien. I mean, the title of this one's pretty self-explanatory, right? Like, it tells you everything you need to know, and it is really quick. I'm 40 pages in already after starting it last night, and I'm really enjoying it. I've never read anything by this author before, but I have to say, one of the things I'm really enjoying about this, outside of like the romance, like that's great, I'm sure that's gonna be wonderful, but it's not really kicked off yet, is that it's about a group of friends who met online in like an alien outer space like forum, you know, for people who are into that stuff, and became their own little group of friends, and now they're meeting up for the first time in person at a big convention, and it's just lovely. Like, so far it feels like a little love letter to making online friends, and as somebody who's like got so many really close friends from the internet that I've made over the years, people who mean so much to me, I was just like, oh, it just warms my heart. Like, I love that. So that's a really nice aspect that I think adds a really beautiful layer to this book so far. But yeah, those are the books I'm currently reading, but it's the working day, so I can't read right now. I've got to go back to work, but thought I'd just update you. Oh hey, you just caught me organising my Pokemon binder. Got a couple more secondhand cards, so I was just doing that. Chris and I watched a film this evening, and I also edited this vlog that you're currently watching, so everything up until this point was edited this evening whilst I sat on the sofa, and then, like I said, was printing stuff off and adding to my binder. So for anybody that's interested, I'm currently like really actively working on this spread here. Oh my goodness. So my favourite Pokemon is Clefairy, and I have loads of Clefairy cards, but I have been looking for every card I can find that has a secret Clefairy, so either a Cleffa, a Clefairy, or a Clefable, or a Clefairy doll. But that's not the main Pokemon. So like in this Chansey, there is a little Clefairy doll, there's a little Cleffa in this trainer card, etc, etc. So I've been doing that. And I like to print off artwork to like put in there as well, to just kind of like break it up, like this little one. And there's like another little piece of artwork there. Let me see, here's another page. Here's like a Pikachu spread. Oh, I just bumped myself in the nose. And I've got these Pikachu's here. So anyway, I was just doing that, and I thought I will wrap up the vlog because I've edited it and it's past half an hour, and that feels like plenty for a vlog. I don't know, let me know what you think. Like when you watch other vlogs, what kind of length do you like? Because I watch vlogs that are 15 minutes and I've watched vlogs that are an hour. So I don't know what people's preference is, and I'm sure it varies, as well as some of you being like me and it just not mattering. Especially these days, I suppose. So you can have it as long as you want, and people can speed it up to be half as long because there's that new function that lets you speed up videos. So yeah, basically just chilling. Apart from editing this vlog, it's evening, not working, chilling. I do have my book somewhere that I'm going to read now. I'm still reading, well obviously I'm still reading because when else would I have finished it? I think I'm in love with an alien, which I'm having a ton of fun with. It's just really like heartwarming, actually. It's surprising how heartwarming it is. Like it's not, I think like, and understandably there's a certain perception of alien romances that is a little bit like, you know, like fast-paced, silly, with like lots of steamy scenes right off the bat, like in Ice Planet Barbarians. And don't get me wrong, I love Ice Planet Barbarians. I think they're really comforting and funny and charming, but this is actually like got a lot more to it as a book than I was expecting. And I suppose it's a good 400 pages long. It's a chunky book. And because it's set on Earth rather than in outer space, and it's about this alien that's stranded and lonely and wants to leave and get back to his family, whilst also meeting this human woman who's also lonely in her own way and doesn't have any friends outside of the internet and is trying to find connection. It's like quite, yeah, like emotive, and I'm really enjoying it. So it's got more substance, I would say, than I was expecting. Although I don't want that to sound like I was saying other alien romances don't have substance. I just think it's not probably the perception, or at least they're perceived to be a bit more like fast-paced and sharp. This is like a chunkier, meatier one. So I'm going to get on with that. This is obviously a very random little closing clip, and I hope you don't mind that I've not finished every book I've read in this vlog, because I just wanted to more like take you along on just a bit of a week with me. So for that reason, it obviously wasn't structured around the books themselves, but I'm always open to feedback in terms of like what you like from a vlog. A few people, like I said, mentioned that they like vlogs. I missed them in my update catch-up videos, so I wanted to film one. But if there's anything in particular, like, do you prefer themed vlogs? Do you enjoy vlogs where you get to see a bit of life and work alongside reading? Like, again, maybe you don't care and you just like it all, but it's always interesting to hear from you, and I hope you have enjoyed this little random glimpse into a bit of my work life, reading life, and DIY life, house problem life. So until next time, happy reading, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye everyone.